continue to follow the protests against ICE happening across the country now. A curfew in effect for parts of LA, the epicenter, of course, of these demonstrations. Video showing police arresting people for still being out past curfew.
We want to go live now to Maribel Gonzalez, who is in Los Angeles. Good morning, Maribel. Now, we've heard there have been arrests due to the overnight curfew. What can you tell us about what you are seeing there and how many arrests there might be?
Good morning, Chris and Dana. Yeah, you know, those arrests happening after that curfew was implemented here in some pockets of downtown Los Angeles. This was after that 8 p.m. curfew, and these were people that were refusing to leave that protest zone, that area of unlawful assembly. I can tell you that this morning it's been very quiet demonstrator-wise. We've seen a lot of patrol from Los Angeles Police Department, and then as you can see behind me, continued presence of members of National Guard. They're here on standby outside of this federal facility, this detention center. Their vehicles parked outside. They've been here all day and all night for the last few days guarding this property. But those arrests, LA leaders want to emphasize, are people that are a small group of people that are causing chaos in the downtown area here in Los Angeles. They say that for the most part, these protests have been carried out peacefully, but they will say that they're not going to put up with any acts of violence from these groups.
So, Maribel, obviously for viewers here in Chicago, we know you from when you used to work with us here. I'm just wondering, on a personal level, can you talk with us about how big is this in LA? I mean, we see the video, many people think, boy, all of LA is kind of up for grabs. Can you put this in perspective for us? How big a swath of the metropolitan area there is affected?
Yeah, that's a really good point that you bring up, Chris. I want to emphasize that these protests are happening in pockets of downtown. They're in certain streets of the downtown area. The rest of LA, this massive city, is just continuing business as usual. And you know, we know from covering the protests there in Chicago after George Floyd, that it is a small group of people, sometimes that are agitating the crowds, that are attacking law enforcement agents. And so sometimes the message of these protests gets lost when we're seeing just the violence that is erupting from them. The people here in Los Angeles, as you know, there's a large community of immigrants here, large Hispanic community. They're frustrated, they're angry right now with these deportations that have taken place because they say it's not criminals that are being arrested by and large. The intent of these raids is to arrest people who have not abided by the law, but the people that are actually getting detained are members of their community, law-abiding residents that have been residents who have been here for years sometimes, and these raids are happening in their workplaces, in places in their community that otherwise they were supposed to be safe in. So that is a frustration of these protesters, but that is a great point that you bring up. You know, these protests are happening specifically here in downtown area and in very small pockets of the area as well.
And that's where the curfew is imposed as well, which of course is very rare for LA and most cities across the country. Any indication this morning how long that curfew for that area will be in effect?
Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass says that this curfew will take effect over the course of the next few days. Of course, we can definitely see that expanding if those protests continue. But she said it is in response to some of the looting that we've seen in this area. That curfew, again, is in place from 8 p.m. until 6 a.m. in the morning local time.
Great perspective from our pal Maribel Gonzalez. Maribel, thank you so much. Great to see you.